Okay, welcome back to Miss Sussman's class. This is lesson 8.6, that's chapter 8, lesson 6, and our essential question is, how can you subtract money amounts from whole dollars? Please make sure that you have everything you need to take notes, pencil and paper. If you don't, pause the video and go grab those things and then we'll begin. Okay, so here we have an example. Something cost $1.54 and it was paid for with a $5 bill. So how can we do this? Well, it's just like subtracting decimals. But instead of writing the 5 like this, I'm going to write it as a decimal. 5, 0, 0. And remember from last night's lesson, I can do that. These zeros are simply placeholders, aren't they? So it's 5 ones, 0 tenths, and 0 hundredths. And then I'm going to subtract the cost, $1.54. Now, why am I subtracting? Well, if something costs money, let's say, I don't know, let's just say Rainbow Loom bands are on sale and they cost $1.54. If you're paying, if something costs $1.54 and you're buying something, then you're subtracting from the money you have. So I have $5. I'm buying something that costs $1.54. So that $1.54 is getting taken away from the $5 that I already have. So I'm going to subtract. And that's why I wrote it this way. I'm going to subtract. And now I just do my regular subtraction. Now I'm looking. Okay, so I'm just going to do my regular subtraction. And as I said before, I'm noticing I've got 2 zeros there. That's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because I can't take anything away from those zeros. So I'm going to have to go, and you learned how to do this like in 2nd grade. I'm going to have to go all the way over to this 5 and start borrowing. So I'm going to cross that out, make it a 4. I'm going to make this a 10. But I still need to borrow from this 10. I'm going to make it a 9 and then make this a 10. And now I'm ready to subtract, just like you would normally. 10 take away 4 is 6. 9 take away 5 is 4. I bring down my decimal as always. And 4 take away 1 is 3. Make sure I have all my dollar signs. So my change is $3.46. So I started out with $5. I bought something for $1.54. So I subtracted that amount because I had to pay for it. And then my change is $3.46. That's how much I have left. And as always, you can check it with inverse operations to make sure everything works out. And it does. Okay, let's try a few more. Okay, cost is $12.49. I pay with a $20 bill. How much change? Again, I'm buying something, so I have to subtract the $12.49 from the $20 that I had originally. So I'm going to write that $20 like this to make it easier, and then I'm going to subtract $12.49. Now, again, you should be noticing that all these zeros we have to deal with. So I'm going to go all the way over to my tens place and borrow. I'm going to make that a 10, but I'm not done. I'm going to cross out that 10 and borrow 1. I'm going to keep doing it until I get here. Don't make the mistake of crossing this out. You don't need to do it, okay? Because you don't need to borrow from that 10. So 10 take away 9 is 1. 9 take away 4 is 5. I bring down my decimal. 9 take away 2 is 7. And 1 take away 1 is 0. I can put the 0 there, but I don't have to. It's up to you guys. So I leave it, and then I want to also make sure I have my dollar sign, and I'm left with $7.51. So I started out with $20. I bought something for $12.49, which means I paid for it, which means I have to subtract it from the money I already have. And I end up with $7.51 in change. And as always, you want to check it with inverse operations. So let's see. Always remember to bring down your decimal. Yeah, it works out beautifully. And I get $20, so I know that $7.51 is the correct answer. Let's do one more. As always, if this is not making sense to you, that's okay. Rewind it, watch it at least 3 times total, and then if it's still not making sense after the 3rd time, just write down the specific questions that you have in your notes, and we'll clear it up tomorrow in class. It's okay if you don't understand everything. This is just kind of the beginnings of what we're going to do, and then we'll dig a little deeper when you get to class. Let's try one more. Okay. Cost is $5.95, paid with $10. How much change? If you're feeling comfortable, go ahead and pause this, work it out yourself, and then hit play to see if we did the same thing. If you're not feeling comfortable with it, then just hang in there, watch what I do, and see if it makes sense to you. Okay, and you notice I kind of already wrote the $10 out with the decimals. And this is the same thing as this. Remember, those zeros are placeholders. And you want to be mindful of your place value. You notice I did not put this 5 over here in the tens place because that's not where it belongs. It's in the ones place. So I have my hundreds place, my tens place, my decimal, my ones place, and my tens place. Now, if I wanted to, I could put a 0 here, but I don't have to. It's totally up to you. If that helps you think of it better, you can. Okay, I also technically don't have to put the zeros here, but it just makes life a lot easier, especially when you're borrowing, which as you can see with all these zeros, we're going to have to do. Okay, so I see, like I just said, those zeros. So I'm going to do this, and this is kind of my shortcut. If this confuses you, you don't have to do it, but I like it. So I'm going to take this 10, so I know it's a 10, and I'm going to make it a 9. And then I'm going to make this a 10, borrow from it, and so that way I can subtract. So 10 take away 5 is 5, 9 take away 9 is 0, bring down the decimal, 9 take away 5 is 4, and I'm left with $4.05. Now, you have to write this 0. You cannot leave this one out. You couldn't have write something like this, and then leave a space, and then have a 5, because that looks like 4 and 5/10. So you would not want to do that. So if you have the number after it, like here where you have the 5 after it, you have to write this as a 0. Okay, it's not just a placeholder anymore. So my change, and for some reason I keep forgetting that $sign, I'm going to bring that down as well, is $4.05. It's not 4 and 5/100ths. It's actually $4.05 because we're dealing with money. And as always, I'm going to check with inverse operations to see if I get the correct answer. And I do. So that I know $4.05 is correct for the change. Okay, here's your homework for tonight. Cost $32.45. Pay with $50. How much change? If you're not comfortable with this yet, try it. Do the best you can, but write down specific questions about what you don't understand.